The deal comes after 6 weeks of relentless fighting. It was first announced in a Facebook post by Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan. Within minutes, confirmation came from Azerbaijan and Moscow.
On November 9th, the President of Azerbaijan, the Prime Minister of Armenia and President of Russian Federation signed a statement which declares the complete ceasefire and military action in the Nagorno-Karabakh war zone starting from midnight of November 10th, Moscow time.
Armenia's Prime Minister described the deal as unbelievably painful. The backlash against him was immediate. Moments after the announcement, furious demonstrators stormed into the parliament in Yerevan to protest the decision. The conflict, they argue, is about much more than land. But Armenia had undergone a number of defeats. Just hours before, Azeri forces overran Nagorno-Karabakh's second city, Shusha. They were on the road to the capital when the deal was signed.
The only glimpses we've seen of Donald Trump since Joe Biden was projected president-elect came over the weekend at his golf course. He is still not willing to accept defeat, fighting his battle in court and on Twitter. But today he also announced on Twitter he had terminated his defense secretary, Mark Esper. Esper was with the president during the infamous photo op at St. John's Church, where protesters were cleared out with tear gas and flashbang grenades. He then infuriated the president by suggesting he would object to an order to deploy the military to crack down on protesters.
Mark Esper? Could you call him Esper? Oh, okay. Some people call him Esper.
Esper hated the idea he was seen as a yes man, telling the Military Times in an interview published just after he was fired, "Who's pushed back more than anybody? Name another cabinet secretary that's pushed back."
And the chief Palestinian negotiator, Saeb Erekat, has died at the age of 65. He was hospitalized last month after contracting coronavirus. The Palestinian Liberation Organization said Erekat required special care due to chronic health problems. He served as an advisor to Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas and had been the Palestinians' chief negotiator in peace talks with Israel for 2.5 decades.
Saeb Erekat was a familiar face in Palestinian politics for 4 decades, and he saw tumultuous events from an early age. He was 12 years old when Israeli tanks rolled into his hometown of Jericho. In 1967, he witnessed a war that would last just 6 days, but which shaped the entire Middle East in the decades since. For Erekat, it would inform the decisions he made for the rest of his life.
Triumphant. That's how Evo Morales returned to Bolivia on Monday after a year in exile in Argentina. He traveled to the city of La Quiaca, right at the border between the two South American nations.
I always knew I was going to return, but not as fast. Something historical. Thanks to the unity of the Bolivian people, my brothers and sisters, history repeats itself. A fight for life, dignity, peace and dignity.
Morales was forced to leave Bolivia last year after violence followed a presidential election that, according to the Organization of American States, were filled with irregularities. The armed forces asked him to resign. Morales fled first to Mexico and then came to Argentina. Once here, he became the campaign manager of Bolivia's movement towards Socialism Party that won the elections last month.
if you frequent a mosque, like if you frequent McDonald's, you don't close McDonald's, right? So the question is much more critical. Was there really an ideological relation? Was he related to these people in that mosque? The Minister of Interior is heavily under pressure and has to kind of show that he's going tough against these terrorists. Now, currently, the government is heavily under pressure by the opposition parties because they had to admit that there were enormous failures. First of all, the terrorist was under observation. There was information given by foreign secret services to the Austrian secret services that he wanted to buy weapons in Slovakia.
The men appearing in the National Court in Madrid are accused of helping the perpetrators of the twin terrorist attacks in Barcelona and nearby Cambrils. Mohammed Uli Shemlal is charged with belonging to a jihadist group, possessing explosives and other crimes. Dries Ukabir, a brother of one of the attackers, is facing the same charges and is said to have rented the van used in the atrocity. A third man is charged with collaborating with a terror group. 14 people died when the van ploughed through crowds on Barcelona's famous Ramblas Boulevard on August 17th. The driver ran off but was shot dead in a police operation several days later. 5 other cell members were also gunned down by police in the hours following the Barcelona attack after their car rammed people in Cambrils, killing 1 woman.
The US aviation safety regulator is poised to approve Boeing 737 MAX passenger jet for a return to service. The head of the Federal Aviation Administration, who took a test flight in September, told Reuters on Monday that they expected to complete the review in the coming days. This is a major milestone for Boeing after it was plunged into its worst ever crisis last year, after 2 of its planes crashed in Ethiopia and Indonesia within a 5-month period, killing 346 people. It led to the worldwide grounding of Boeing's best-selling plane in March 2019, which cost the company billions and hobbled its supply chain. A Justice Department criminal investigation is still ongoing. 3 sources briefed on the matter told Reuters the US safety watchdog was set to lift its grounding order on the plane as early as November the 18th, but Boeing declined to comment. Other global regulators are also moving closer to allow the plane to fly once more.